How's it going, everybody? My name is Philip, and today I'm going to be reacting to the first showdown. Why the Crows versus Power rivalry hits different. Now, this is the Adelaide Crows and Port Adelaide Power. Now, if those of you that don't know, that haven't realized it yet, or hasn't seen that video yet of me saying that my team is officially Port Adelaide Power. I don't know why I said power that way, but that's who I chose on my team. Primarily because I like the colors. No other reason. That's a great reason to choose a team, right? I mean, listen, I just went for it. I committed. I'm committed now, especially because I bought a jersey. But, you know, COVID's still a thing, so you gotta wait for stuff to come in. So, it's funny because I bought it before their last game against the Bulldogs, and they lost. So, just to make myself feel better and feel like I know something about my team now, I'm going to watch why the Crows and the Power hits differently. Also because I would like to know a little bit more about the rivalry. Just going to say that right now. Throw that out there. So let's get to learning some more history about the team that I have chosen to support.
The Adelaide Crows versus the Port Adelaide Power, the South Australian rivalry known to football fans as the Showdown.
Nice.
Although the first contest was only played in 1997, showdowns have developed a reputation for being fierce, loud, and intensely competitive.
Nice.
So much so that former Adelaide coach Malcolm Blight has proclaimed it the greatest rivalry in Australian football.
Nice.
As the teams prepare to face off for the 50th time, Power hold the slimmest of advantages.
By 2?
The honours nearly perfectly split, 25 to 24.
Ooh.
In that inaugural 97 game, it was newcomers Port, who snatched an unexpected 11-point win. But even before a ball had been bounced, many supporters in the stand had already vowed to hate everything about their opposition.
There you go.
In just 24 years, this rivalry has forged an edge that places it alongside others that have had over a century to develop. In order to understand how we got here, we need to journey back to 1981, a year when the Port Adelaide Magpies ruled South Australia, the Victorian Football League remained within its state borders, and the idea of a national competition was just a dream in the heads of VFL executives.
Okay.
Here begins the
some
true
history.
first showdown, a battle played not on the green expanse of Football Park, but rather in the boardrooms and courthouses of South Australia. Meow. The story begins as the South Australian National Football League, wary of the growing prominence of the VFL and the ability of its richer clubs to poach Australia's best footballing talent, approached the Victorian football executives with the idea of admitting a composite South Australian team to the league for the 1982 season, a proposal the VFL rejected, instead concentrating on the upcoming relocation of South Melbourne to Sydney, although negotiations would continue throughout the next decade. As financial hardship began to dog Australian rules football countrywide, the SANFL decided that clubs were to distribute gate takings amongst the league in order to support struggling clubs and protect the competition. This decision was not received well by powerhouses and bitter rivals Norwood and Port Adelaide, who were the main clubs to forgo ticket revenue. Meanwhile, across the border, the VFL sold $4 million expansion licenses to teams in Perth and Brisbane in an effort to prop up its own struggling clubs. The SANFL, however, were adamant they would not pay any entry fee to join the expanding league, and as the 1987 season began, South Australia became the only mainland state without a team in the VFL.
Damn.
As the AFL era approached, fresh CEO Ross Oakley changed the VFL's tactics in 1988. We were changing the league's name to AFL, and we could not go without a team from Adelaide. We wanted a composite side first up, but we were knocked back by the SANFL, so we approached the two strongest supported clubs, Norwood and Port Adelaide. Oakley wasn't to get his wish, however, and 1990 saw the launch of the Australian Football League without a South Australian side. The SANFL had maintained its stubborn approach, and on May 14th of that year, its member clubs voted that no South Australian team would enter the AFL until 1993.
Okay.
Port Adelaide, however, fresh off the success of attracting a home crowd of almost 30,000 people to a pre-season match against Geelong, elected to secretly continue negotiations with the AFL.
Ooh, sneaky.
As the deal edged closer, journalist Mike Sheehan let the magpie out of the bag. The Australian Football League and rebel South Australian football officials are at an advanced stage in secret negotiations that would see an Adelaide-based 15th team enter the national competition next year.
Damn it, you stupid reporters.
On July 30, the news was confirmed. Port Adelaide had signed an agreement with the AFL. The reaction was fierce and immediate. SANFL President Max Bashir called it an act of betrayal, while Glenelg headed to the Supreme Court of South Australia to file an injunction to prevent further negotiations between Port and the league. As West Torrens, South and Sturt all jumped to the support of Glenelg, Norwood were not to be left out, acting separately to obtain a writ against Port's board of directors. SANFL's own lawyers then began suing Port Adelaide administrators and volunteers, requiring the AFL to step in and seek guarantees of protection, as Port were unable to withstand the assault on multiple fronts.
Damn.
It essentially ended any chance Port had of refining their pitch,
That's fucked.
securing enough votes from the current AFL clubs to greenlight their entry to the league. In the chaos, the SANFL was shaken from its complacency, and a rival bid was rapidly prepared to beat Port Adelaide's. The idea of a composite Adelaide Football Club had failed to get off the ground in '82, but now, 8 years later, the plan was revived. At a meeting in Melbourne, the SANFL sweetened the deal by abandoning their previous stance on paying a licence fee, offering the AFL $1 million up front, with an additional $3 million to follow in instalments, if they accepted a composite South Australian side. That was the key to the whole deal, the winning hand. Everything else followed from the moment Max put that $1 million on the table. Then SANFL CEO Lee Wicker later reflected. On September 20, less than 2 months after Port Adelaide announced their plans to join the AFL, the league's 14 existing clubs voted 13-1 to accept the SANFL's offer, Richmond, the lone club, deciding to honour the earlier commitment made to Port Adelaide.
There you go, Richmond.
The Adelaide Football Club would be the league's 15th team. To the defeated Port Adelaide, this was seen as their rivals being petty or jealous, aspiring to steal the AFL licence they felt they rightly deserved.
Yeah, that's
South
fair.
Australia's most successful club. To the rest of South Australian football...
Okay, that's one thing I have to say. I don't know if there's promotion relegation, because I know that all the Euro snobs give MLS shit here in the US for not having promotion relegation. But I feel like the most successful team has the right to jump into the first tier. Now, if the AFL counts as the first tier at this point, which it sounds like, I mean, right now, that's what it is. I don't know if it was the same back then. But the most successful team has the right to jump into that next level of competition. You know, especially if you're drawing the crowd, you have the right to jump into that next level. So the fact that the SANFL is being little babies about it's a bunch of bullshit.
Port's secret negotiations were seen not only as a betrayal...
Okay, also though, probably shouldn't have been very secret. Also, SANFL, fuck you. I'm just gonna throw it out there. I get that you don't want to lose your most successful team. Try and fix something so that they have to pay money now to get out of your league. How's that sound? I mean, they got to pay money to get in the AFL, and they got to pay you to get out of it. How's that? I mean, if they can make it and still continue to not lose money, great. You just got a shit ton of money, depending on how much you agreed on, and the AFL get their money. And NFL also gets their Adelaide team. Like, what? Why is you being such little babies about it? Like, figure something out.
But is emblematic of the club's perceived arrogance. As journalist Michelangelo Rucci put it, they are South Australia's club of extremes, the state's oldest, most successful, most loved and most despised club. For the Sandful though, the job was far from over. They had just 6 months to prepare for the new club's first ever competitive game. The board was established, players were selected.
Would this be
and a
Collingwood?
jumper of green, blue and white
No.
was designed for a team that would be known as the Adelaide Sharks. However, these were soon dismissed in favour of the state's colours of red, navy and gold, in a more traditionally football design.
Oh, is that?
Where the crow was deemed to be a more appropriate mascot to represent the pride of South Australia.
Okay. That's how the crow came about.
On
Gotcha.
the 22nd of March 1991, the Crows defeated eventual premiers Hawthorn by 86 points at Football Park in their first ever competitive match. The next day, Port Adelaide defeated West Adelaide by 24 points in Sandful, after the competition had decided not to follow through on threats to exclude the Magpies from the season as punishment for their attempted breakaway. The Crows would go on to have a solid first year, winning 10 of their 22 games and finishing a respectable 9th. Then, after Port claimed another Sandful premiership in 1992, the Crows won through to their first ever final series in 93. As the 90s dragged on, the AFL continued their push for expansion, with second teams in South Australia and WA higher on the agenda. This time Port was not to be denied, defeating merger bids from Woodville West Torrens and Norwood Sturt to gain an AFL licence.
Again, I will continue to back my opinion on mergers can go fuck themselves. Terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. If my soccer team was having financial problems and they had to merge with Sacramento, I'd be pissed. I don't want to be called the Sacramento Earthquakes. No. I don't care if you're wearing the same colors. No. I'm not supporting the Sacramento team. Just like there's the Oakland Raiders here in the NFL. I don't watch American football at all, really, but the fact that they went from Oakland Raiders to the Las Vegas Raiders, kept the name, kept the color, changed the city. Fuck you. Just gonna throw that out there. Fuck you. If I was big into the National Football League, if I was big into American football, not even gonna give a shit. That's simple. I was like, no, you're not my team anymore. You might have the same players. You might have the same colors. You might have the same name. But the city name is what I'm loyal to. That's my big thing. You know? Like the Oakland Athletics, if they get moved, I will not support that team anymore. If they bring in another random Oakland team, that will be my new team. Just gonna say that. Like when you expand, create a new team. Make your own. Start your own history. If you're not gonna bring a team up from the Sandful or wherever the fuck else. Obviously now they're looking at Tasmania, and I don't know if there's any teams up there historically or and whatnot. But just fuck mergers is basically what I'm trying to say. Also, if you're moving your teams. Relocating, that's the word I was looking for, because that's also what happened to my Quakes. And then they went and won 2 more championships, which is why I don't really care for Houston Dynamo. They completely changed everything except for they still had our winning players.
The bad
Stupid.
blood seemed to have subsided, as Wicker welcomed the announcement.
Also, why no magpies? Why no magpies and no prison bars? I mean, was Collingwood already a thing here?
Tension and anger of 1990 is gone. It has been replaced by a sense of relief, particularly now that we've signed an end to this saga, and a sense of excitement for what is ahead, and we're united again. However, as Fremantle docked ahead of them, Port were made to wait until 1997 to play on the national stage.
Why?
And the merging of Fitzroy and Brisbane opened up a spot in the league. The Port Adelaide Magpies finished the 1996 season as Sandful premiers, then in accordance with their AFL agreement, shed the Magpie nickname and their black and white stripes to become the Port Adelaide Power. Their first matchup with the Crows would take place in round 4, and the present-day PAFC website suggests that it's not all rainbows and sunshine for Port fans. It was 7 years of waiting to confront the team that took Port Adelaide's place.
That is completely fair.
in 1991. The Power won that day, but it was the Crows who would soon silence the bragging of their new rivals.
Okay, well, hold on. So, they said that they had to wait because the Dockers were in front of them. But then they had to wait again because then the Brisbane Lions, so the Brisbane Bears and the... Fuck. What? I had the name. So the Lions merged. That opened up a new spot. So does that mean there's only like a limited amount of teams allowed in the league? That seems a bit kind of silly. But maybe I'm thinking too much into it. Maybe I'm overlooking something.
They won Showdown 2 when the teams met later in the year, and if that wasn't enough, 97 and 98 would go on to be the greatest in Adelaide's short history, defeating St Kilda and North Melbourne to claim back-to-back underdog grand finals.
Boo.
Both teams would leave their marks on the National League as the 21st century began, Port claiming their first AFL premiership in 2004,
nice,
and Adelaide making back-to-back prelims in 05 and 06.
Did they
With
win
both
them?
teams being contenders, showdowns became about more than just state pride, and the two teams met for the first, and so far only time in a finals game in the 2005 semi-final, a match marketed as the ultimate showdown. The Crows ruined the Power's chances of going back-to-back.
Oh, damn.
Winning by 83 points in front of 50,000 at Football Park.
Damn.
And so our eyes turn back towards 2021 and the 50th meeting of the sides. Port Adelaide fighting for a top 4 spot and another chance at equaling the Crows' premiership tally. Adelaide are at the opposite end of the ladder, with the first promising signs of a rebuild beginning to shine through. If one thing is for sure, it's that no matter where the two sides are placed on the ladder, the contest will always be fierce. Jared Waitley
Nice.
perhaps best captures the mood of the rivalry between two clubs with histories rooted in vastly different eras of the game. The clubs have that sporting notion that Port don't want to be like Adelaide, and Adelaide don't want to be like Port. And that is the essence of the showdown.
All right. So that's cool to know a little bit more of the history and the rivalry. Again, SANFL, the Sandful, that is some fucking bullshit. Again, I do have to say, I feel like Port Adelaide probably shouldn't have just been sneaky about it, but it is fair to say that we're the most successful team. We should be able to get promoted. We should be able to move on to the next level. I mean, you know, it's one of those things where if you talked about it, like actually talked about it, and things might have been different, maybe not a lot. I don't know, but still, I think that's so stupid on the Sandful side. Like, if a team wants to leave, let them leave. You know, they have to pay a certain amount. You know, make it like a not a founder's fee, but like a leaving fee, like exit fee. That's what I'm trying to think. But I mean, you know, that just seems so stupid. I'm curious if there's more to it than just this, but it's just like that's really stupid. So was Collingwood, were they always, because I think Collingwood is the Magpies, right? Were they always in the league, or because like why did Port Adelaide have to get rid of the Magpie name and the prison bars? Because that right there kind of seems a bit silly to me to get rid of that, but I mean, it makes sense if there's already another team in the AFL. So it's just like, when did that other team come in? Were they always in, or did they come in just a little bit beforehand? Which is just, what I was thinking was about to happen was, instead of Adelaide Crows coming into it, I was thinking that Collingwood was going to come into it with the Magpie name. You know, and then that poor Adelaide doesn't like them, but I guess Collingwood has had that for a while. and then adopted the name. I'm not really sure. Maybe there's a video on that I should also probably check out. But I think that that's definitely interesting. Oh, the closest rivalry in A of Hell history. I could probably watch that one next or soon. I don't know. I feel like I really want to get to know more of the sport, which is why I want to get to know the teams better. The Fitzroy. That's the Fitzroy Lions. Doy. I don't know why it took me so long to figure that out. I knew it wasn't Fitzgerald, and I knew it wasn't like Fitzsimmons or something. I knew it had something to do with Fitz. Sorry, it just popped in my mind. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and comment down below on what else I should react to next. I have a long list of videos that I have lined up, so be patient, please. There's, like I said, there's a lot of stuff that I've been trying to react to, and so I'm trying to get through them. Which sounds bad because I'm enjoying doing these. These are been a lot of fun. So thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you guys next time, hopefully.